Let's go back, Mike, to the word you used a minute ago, sedate.
Yeah.
We can kind of apply that to the economy. It's crawling along. Financial specialist Stephen Buten here with our sedate economy.
Yeah, it is sedate. Every time we get some good news, we get some bad news, and it's been this way for months, but may as well get to it.
Yeah.
The first report we saw this morning was the ISM number, which is the Institute of Supply Management, and it's basically just a manufacturing survey of varying industries across the country, and it came in a little bit down, nothing too drastic, but it's still, you know, it's down, not up. Over 6 months, it's been down 4 out of 6 months, and we always like to try to monitor the trends, and the trends have been crawling. So that's something that is maybe on the downside, but on the upside, auto sales are up. And all of the major automakers are reporting an increase in auto sales. Now, again, even inside this report, there's some good news, bad news. The good news is sales are up. The bad news is most of the sales are smaller cars. And smaller cars tend to be a little bit less profitable than the big ones. So they're selling cars, and folks are just preferring to have the smaller ones. And that could be a relation to the gas prices.
And a lot of the reports we're reading are A, gas prices, and B, people's old clunkers, because of the recession, finally just gave out, so they had to get something, and they went for a cheaper model.
Yeah, but again, sales are up. Now, if the first report, the management survey of manufacturing, is down, those were cars that were built a couple of months ago. So now that the manufacturing is down now, it's no surprise. But as those manufacturing numbers hopefully improve early next year, hopefully there'll be a lot of cars replaced. And we're seeing that beginning to happen on the East Coast as a result of the storm. You have a lot of pent-up demand for replacements. And we'll probably see that in the next 2 or 3 months.
All right, let's get to politics. We have to. The fiscal cliff is looming.
Yes.
And it seems like, you know, a lot of times there'll be an election and things will ramp up in the stock markets and the financial markets. And we're back to that crawling sedate thing. What's up?
Well, the markets are, the positive here is that the markets are not dropping precipitously. You know, they're hanging in, hoping that there's a deal. There's a business survey I was reading this morning with small and large business owners saying, we just are not going to be hiring people. There's no incentive for us to hire. I'm hoping the folks in Washington read those reports, because the only way this economy gets back on its feet is if businesses start to hire people. And there's only a few real reasons why the business people are not hiring, and it gets back to the uncertainty that's going on. We know there's going to be a deal. There's 28 days before the fiscal cliff goes over. Just get it done. You know there's going to be a deal.
Well, right. Eventually there has to be.
There has, and that's what's frustrating.
But what are the chances, and I know this calls for speculation on your part, they could go past the deadline. And very easily. As a matter of fact, Lindsey Graham saying it's going to happen. But how far past that deadline can they go before things just completely fall apart?
This is where I think the markets will lead. If it goes past January 1st and a lot of these tax hikes and spending cuts get implemented, which are amazingly drastic, the markets will react. And if the markets really continue to drop, like they did during the financial crisis a few years ago, it'll force the politicians to act. But why do they have to be forced to act? That's the part that's just infuriating. You know there has to be a deal. The Republicans are wrong on some things. The Democrats are wrong on some things. Meet in the middle. There has to be a deal. And then you'll see the employers begin to hire again. But they're all sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what happens. Why waste a month?
We're hearing a couple of good things. First of all, it sounds like the deduction for home mortgage interest is not on the table anymore. They're going to take that off, so we don't have to worry about that infringing on our taxes. But we're also hearing things like the capital gains rate could go way up after the first of the year. And that's causing some people to sell off a lot of stock and other large investments. Is that hurting or helping?
Well, that's actually a good point. I'm seeing it with clients of ours who are running to sell now, knowing that they could lock in these lower tax rates. What you're really doing is front-loading some activity. You know, people that may or may not have sold things in January or February are doing it now. So we're going to see skewed numbers for the next 2 or 3 months, because everybody's trying to get out in front of all of this uncertainty. So the folks in Washington really are just creating an enormous inefficiency in the market by not coming to a solution.
Could this possibly lead us into another recession, or will it just go back to the sedate thing? Will we just crawl along at maybe 1 or 2% GDP for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I could see if there's no deal. You will probably see a recession because of the draconian cuts and the amount of money that would be sucked out of the economy through higher taxes. This is stuff that should be averaged in over a 10 or 15-year period. You know, we didn't get into this mess in 1 year. They don't expect us to get out over 1 year. But if you can create some predictability, that's where the businesses of this country can create some game planning and ease into this. But if it happens all at once, you'd have some drastic situations.
All right, good stuff. Known you a long time. I'll give you one shot. How was your fantasy football team doing?
Who did I beat this week in fantasy football? Come on, 3 guesses.
Bad. Bad.
Very good.
I got a
very
50,
good.
he doubled me.
Yes.
Thanks, I think.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Coming up, beer bellies aren't such a good thing.